Hi folks, my name is Casey. I use the pronoun she, her. I'm co-founder of Yoga Wild, and this is Yoga for Beginners, a sequence for coping with grief. If you're new to our channel, please take a moment to subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. Maybe even hit the bell and get notifications for upcoming videos. This class is meant for anyone new to yoga, or maybe you've been practicing for a while and you just want something at a slower or more gentle pace. Throughout class, I will present ways to personalize or options you can take for every pose, so please do what feels right for you today. This video was filmed right before Governor Inslee, we're in Washington State, issued the stay-at-home order to extend through May 4th. And considering it's early April, that can feel a little daunting. And what I love about yoga and what's brought me back to my mat for 20 years is that it can be a great way to connect with how you're feeling, physically, mentally, emotionally. Let this 30 minutes together be an opportunity to just connect. Recognize that what you need today can be different than what you needed yesterday or last week or last month or last year. And I have a couple of blocks, a strap, and a blanket. And you don't need those things. So you could use books from home, you could use a tie or even long socks for a strap. Maybe you have a mat or just a comfy space. And I also recommend a chair if sitting on the ground is not comfortable for you. Let's get started. Find a comfortable seat. So maybe that means cross-legged on the ground. I really like to start with a block under my sit bones. That added height may offer a little more space in your low back. If you'd prefer to sit in a chair, please do just keep both feet grounded on the floor. And as you find your comfortable seat, take a long spine, draw your navel up and in, feel your shoulders line up over your hips, stay open in your chest, and then maybe close your eyes or just soften your gaze. And just take a little time in an opening meditation to listen to how you feel. And listening isn't just about being quiet. Listening is about being present. Know that there may be distractions, sound from your space or mine or your head. Anytime you get pulled away, come back. Notice how you feel. And during these uncertain and precarious times, maybe there's anxiety or fear or even grief. Maybe you're in a place where you're feeling content or loved and supported. No, there isn't a right or wrong. We're just here to listen. And then start to bring your awareness to your breath. Notice where you feel your breath today. Maybe it's higher up in your chest. If so, can you bring it down deeper into your belly? You can feel your front, sides, and back body expand as you inhale. And then contract with your exhale. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. Feel your sit bones rooted to a block or the ground or the chair. Throughout our class today, we'll focus on grounding postures, forward folds, things that allow us to turn inward and reflect. And then start to bring attention to your neck. Allow your chin to drop down toward your chest. Open your shoulders. Notice a stretch maybe through the back of your neck. Roll your right ear toward your right shoulder. Again, keep your shoulders open. Feel the stretch maybe through the left side of your neck. Now point your chin up toward the ceiling, a little stretch in front of your throat. Lower your left ear to your left shoulder. Keep your right shoulder heavy, it's down and away. And then let your chin come back to your chest. And continue making circles like this. And I don't know about you, but I am not sleeping very well lately, and I'm feeling very tender in my neck. So maybe your circles are really slow. Maybe you feel fine with mobility and you're going a little faster. The next time your chin draws in towards your chest, pause here. And we'll take that the other direction. First time really slow. Turn your left ear to your left shoulder. And almost like there was a press in your right shoulder, lower it down and away. And then turn your chin up toward the ceiling. Roll your right ear to your right shoulder. And then chin down to your chest. Continue circles like this. All the while breathing. All the while listening to your body, not forcing a range of motion or a speed. The next time your chin draws in toward your chest, pause there. Lift your chin parallel to your mat or the ground, long through your neck. And you can start to bring some attention to your shoulders. So maybe lifting your shoulders up towards your ears, then back, feel your shoulder blades come together and down, and continue these shoulder circles this direction. You could even include your elbows, kind of bringing them up and around. That helps with range of motion. I also feel really tight in my shoulders. And then go the other direction. So send your shoulders down, back, then up and forward. Notice what's happening in your back body as well. So feel your shoulder blades kind of squeeze together and then wing out. Come back to a tall seat. We'll bring some awareness to your chest and back. So inhale, lift your chest up, maybe even turn your gaze up toward the ceiling. Exhale, draw your chin to your chest. Kind of make a cave as you draw your heart in, a little cat spine. You could even hold on to your knees for some support. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, round and rock back. All the while, move with your breath. It can be really easy if you're a beginner to want to do all of these poses right or perfect. And I really invite you to just be comfortable or maybe try to find comfort moving in your body and what it needs or wants today. Last big breath here. Then return to your tall seat. We'll bring a little awareness to your hips. So lean forward and then rock to your right. Lean back and around. And as you continue these circles or Sufi circles, again, going at a pace that works for you, your gaze can be down toward eye level or even eyes closed. Next time your chest comes towards center, pause, and then go the other direction. Maybe you start to feel this in your hips or even in your side body. Notice if you start to hold your breath. Finish the circle that you're on. We'll come back to our tall seat, root down in your sit bones. Draw your belly up and in. Long spine, inhale. Exhale, tabletop. So come to your hands and knees. If you're on a hard surface, I highly recommend placing a blanket under your knees, or you could even fold up your mat. Spread your 10 fingers wide. Start to rock forward and back. Notice what it feels like to have weight in your hands. Maybe add some circles. You can go the other direction. Then return to tabletop. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. Feel your hips over your knees, and draw your navel up and in. So think a long, flat spine. From here, inhale, cow pose. So drop your belly button down as far as you can toward your mat. Just kind of let your belly hang. As you continue to breathe, think of your chest getting really wide and open, and then the crown of your head lifts up. So there's a little lift in your chin. Remember our shoulder circles. Maybe draw your shoulder blades together. Find a little more stretch here. Inhale. Exhale, cat pose. Tuck your chin to your chest. We're going to go the opposite direction with your spine. So draw your navel up and away as far as possible from your mat as you round your spine and upper back. Tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, cow pose, drop your belly. Exhale, cat pose. And continue with your breath. As you inhale, stretch the front line of your body. With your exhale, find space through the back of your body. Inhale, tabletop, come back to your neutral spine. Exhale, child's pose. Sink your hips to your heels. For child's pose, maybe bring your knees wide, more toward the edges of your mat. Then you can lower your forehead down to a block or your palms or your mat. You can even reach your fingertips forward or rest your hands by your feet. Now, if you live in a tight body, then your hips might want to be higher up, and that's fine. Just bring a little bit more weight into your forearms, and your knees could come closer together or further apart, whatever works for you. But for this first posture, I encourage you to try to bring your third eye center, your forehead to something solid. So the ground, your palms, a block. And then check back in. And really, that's all we're doing throughout our practice. Come back to being a listener and see how it feels in your body. Each posture, each breath can feel different. Inhale back to tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. And settle in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So feel free to bend your knees as much as you need. There's no rule that your legs have to be perfectly straight in this posture. And in fact, if you let straight legs be your priority, then all sorts of other things can get a little wonky. So please, please, please bend your knees if you're feeling tight today. Spread your 10 fingers wide and then press all 10 fingers into your mat. Now, if you're looking at your hands, kind of checking things out, now try to relax your head so that your ears fall between your upper arms. And then think of pressing your mat down and away, like you're getting longer through your arms and your spine. And again, it might feel nice to kind of move around. Bend one knee, then the other. Just a few more breaths here. And if this does not feel right in your body, then please come back to tabletop. You could give your wrists a little rest, maybe come to fists for a moment, or child's pose. Eventually, we will all meet in ragdoll. So if you're in downward facing dog, look to your hands and walk your feet forward. If you're in tabletop or something else, just make your way to a forward fold. Now for our first forward fold, I encourage you to take a nice wide base with your feet. All 10 toes point toward the top of your mat. Bend your knees as much as you need and then just hang. So maybe your hands rest on blocks or the mat. I like to kind of box up my arms, so opposite hands to opposite elbows. And then try to relax your head down. Just like downward facing dog, the goal here is not to have perfectly straight legs, so bend your knees as much as you need. We're trying to avoid straining our hamstrings or doing something our body just doesn't want. Maybe even sway side to side like a little pendulum. That might feel nice, help traction your spine. Then lower your fingertips to your mat. Tuck your chin to your chest and slowly roll up to stand. So keep a bend in your knees. Again, protect the backs of your legs. Keep your gaze down. Your head is heavy. Your hands are heavy. Eventually, we'll meet Mountain Pose Tadasana. So you could find a few shoulder rolls like we did at the beginning of our practice. And when you come to standing, care about the placement of your feet. More traditional, feet are closer together. That just doesn't feel great in my body most days. So I tend to like hips with distance apart, and maybe you want something a little wider for stability. You can keep that little bend in your knees, and then take a moment to pick up your 10 toes. So the ball mound of your big toe and your pinky toe and the center of your heel press down into your mat. Feel that even press in your feet and then lower your toes back down. Like drawing energy up from the earth, get active through your legs, draw your navel up and in. Now open your chest. Face your palms forward to the front of your space and lengthen your neck. From here, press your palms together. Maybe close your eyes or gaze at your fingertips. Take a moment to set an intention for your practice. This can be a word, a phrase, maybe just listening to how your body feels today. In an article I will post in the description box, an interview with David Kessler, he says emotions need motion. So especially if you're feeling something heavy like anxiety or fear or grief, we're going to add a little movement with our breath. Before we do, take a big breath in. Open mouth, exhale, send it out. Inhale through your nose. This time, seal your lips. Exhale through your nose. Keep this breath. Ujjayi pranayama. Inhale, reach your hands high. Now pause here, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Maybe your palms touch, but if your shoulders start to scrunch up to get that, then please keep a little space between your hands. Point your thumbs behind you so your arms are in an external rotation, or you can even have your hands a little wider, more like a Y shape. So really just give yourself options, especially if you have shoulder injury or tightness, then you could always just keep hands at your heart. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. As you lower down, maybe your hands pass through center or nice and wide, a little shoulder opener, and then lower your hands down to your mat. From here, halfway lift. Bring your hands to your shins or your thighs. Sometimes blocks can be really nice here. Get a little more length. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to your heart. Samastitihi. So we will flow with breath through those postures. 2 more rounds, and it's a half Surya Namaskar A or a half Sun A. The intention is to kind of warm up your body, build a little energy. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And again, I'll show the blocks here can be really nice. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Samastitihi. Take a few moments here standing. What does it feel like after you've started to move with your breath, to move in your body today? Good. We're going to do a little shoulder opener before we start to move into our legs. And I have a strap with me, chest expansion or yoga mudra. You could interlace your fingertips behind your back or find a strap. And this is where a tie, a long pair of socks, something else can really come in handy. But be grounded in your feet. Take that big shoulder roll just like we've done throughout class. Now inhale, lift your chest, similar to when we were seated or in cow pose. And as you exhale, forward fold, slow, slow, slow. Keep a little bend in your knees. Lead with your heart. And as you fold over your legs, let your hands or knuckles come up toward the ceiling. Now, if you have shoulder stuff going on or this doesn't feel right for you, please just release your grip and lower your fingertips down. A forward fold can be a great place to be. Otherwise, adding on that shoulder opener might help to open a tight place in your body today. 2 more breaths here. Then slowly bend your elbows, lower your fingertips down to your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back and lower your left knee down. So take a long stride first before you lower your left knee down. We'll be grounded for a little bit, not too long, but if this doesn't feel good under your knee, then again, please place a blanket or fold up your mat. Maybe keep your hands on blocks and you can start to move your hips kind of forward and back. Know that this is a great place to stay, or you could start to bring your hands up to your front thigh. And again, a little rock or movement might feel nice. And take a moment to notice if you're in a short stance, your knee might be crossing way over your toes. And that might be a nice stretch through the back of your ankle. But if you're here and just not really feeling anything, then I really encourage you to take a little longer stance. Bring your right foot up. So again, hands can be on blocks, your front thigh. You could bring hands to your heart, or maybe even start to reach your hands up. Now in my body, I feel a big stretch in front of my left hip. Maybe you're feeling that. Maybe it's your glutes that are working hard. And we're just paying attention, listening to any sensation in your body. Inhale. Exhale, hands come back to your mat. We'll meet in a forward fold. So maybe you use blocks, pick up your back knee. You could take that in one step or two or three, but eventually bring your left foot up next to your right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. And care about your transitions. Even though you're stepping back into a pose, take it mindful and slow, and then lower your right knee down. And on this second side, again, just give yourself lots of time to settle in. We're in no rush getting in or out of these poses. We're taking it at a nice slow pace. Again, be mindful that you have this long stance in your legs. And notice too if your knee is kind of splaying out or in. For this, just try to keep your knee tracking in line with your toes. Maybe press into your front thigh, feel a little lift in your chest. Maybe even start to reach your hands up. And there isn't a one way or right way to do a posture. Notice if you start to hold your breath or your breath starts to get really fast. Usually that's a sign that your body wants something else. Inhale. Exhale, lower your hands down to blocks or your mat and take that big step up, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. This time we'll set up for warrior one. So keep your back knee lifted, but ground your back foot. So you might need to shorten your stance a little bit and press the outer edge, the knife edge of your left foot down into your mat. Your right leg stays bent, and then lift your chest. Hands can start at your hips. Now, more traditional heel to heel alignment with your front and back foot. I like a wider stance, just like standing earlier. So you could walk your right foot out a little bit. Press through the back edge of your left foot, draw your right hip back, bend into your knee. Now, if warrior one just doesn't feel good on your ankles or your back knee, you could always pick up your left heel, high lunge, hips and shoulders still face forward. It's more of a balance challenge, but that might work better on your ankle. So find the posture that works for you. We're going to add a little pulse. So whether you're in warrior one or high lunge, maybe try this on. Inhale. Exhale, straighten your front leg. Bring your hands to your heart. Maybe lift your chest a little bit. Now when you straighten your front leg, squeeze your inner thighs together. Draw your right hip back. Inhale, bend your front knee. Exhale, straighten. Draw your hands to center. Squeeze your inner thighs. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale, warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to your blocks or your mat. Step your left foot up. Take a moment in your forward fold. Notice how one side feels compared to the other. And maybe we'll find a little balance. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. So setting up for warrior one again. Your back foot is at an angle, and maybe try that wider stance from the start. Bend your left knee as much as you can without getting a big swoop in your low back. So draw your navel up and in. And if this doesn't feel right on your back knee, like there's some kind of torque happening, then a shorter or wider stance, or maybe pick up your back heel, more of high lunge. With your hands on your hips or at your heart, or really start to reach up, draw your navel up and in, bend into your front knee. Good. We'll add that pulse. Inhale. Exhale, bend your front knee, bring your hands to your heart. Pause here on this first one, create a little muscle memory. Draw your left hip back, squeeze your inner thighs together. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, come to center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your blocks. Step your right foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, warrior two. Step your left foot back. This time, when you spiral your back foot flat, point your left toes to the left side of your mat. So your back foot, the back edge, is parallel to the back edge of your mat. Lift your chest, open your arms wide like a T. And really try to take as long of a stride as possible in this Virabhadrasana 2. And you can move your front foot, so making it wider might offer some space in your low back. So just give yourself an opportunity as you try on this pose, especially if it's brand new to you, to just kind of explore, see what's going to feel good. You can start with your hands at your hips. Feel your hips open toward the left side of your space. Maybe even start to bring your arms wide like a T. Hands are shoulder height, and really extend through your fingertips. Now gaze over your right middle finger. Sink your hips down toward your mat. Few breaths here. Press through your right heel, the back of your left foot. And we're going to add a pulse. So inhale, straighten your front leg, reach your hands up, squeeze your inner thighs together. Exhale, bend to your front knee, arms come wide. Inhale, straighten, press through your right heel, squeeze your inner thighs, maybe look up. Exhale, bend, sink in. One more, inhale. Exhale. Hold Virabhadrasana 2. Forward fold. Now, if it works for you better to kind of straighten your legs, find a shorter stance, then step your back foot up. Feel free. However you get to forward fold is fine. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Long stride, take it slow. Spiral your back foot flat. And when you're ready, lift your chest. And know that you're not stuck right when you get into a posture. You have plenty of time to kind of pulse and move, maybe start to broaden or widen your stance. The knife edge of your right foot lines up with the back edge of your mat. Your hips are level, and then bend into your front knee. There's so much happening in all of these postures, so just allow yourself some learning curves, especially if this is brand new. You can start here, straighten your leg anytime you need. Know that the pulse is coming, and notice as discomfort starts to come up or heat in your body, maybe muscles are being used that are waking up for the first time in a while. Give yourself a little patience, a little grace, and we'll move into our flow. Inhale, reach your hands up, squeeze your inner thighs. Exhale, sink in, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. So again, just maybe bend or straighten, shorten your stance a little bit, however you get to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your hands high. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll do a little balancing before we make our way down to a mat. So balance on your right leg. Bend your left knee and open it wide. And you can keep your left heel on your ankle. And if you're near a wall, you could always just bring your right hand to a wall or any hand to a wall and feel some support. From there, you could bring your left foot to the inside of your calf or maybe inner thigh. And what we want to do is avoid putting your foot on your knee, because putting pressure on your knee encourages it to bend sideways, and we don't want that. So above or below your knee is where we want placement. Now, it takes a lot of work to open your left knee, so use your glutes here Draw your navel up and in and hands to your heart. And if you wobble or fall over, that's okay. Just get back in. Any variation. This is where the practice is. We're not here to do things perfect. We're not here to be right every time. Can you just listen to how you feel today? One more big breath. Now, coming out of the posture, lower your left foot down with care. Try to avoid just kind of falling out of the pose. Take a moment, equal standing pose. Notice how one side feels compared to the other. And we'll take that balance on your left leg. Bend and open your right knee. As you set up tree pose vrikshasana on the other side, any variation with your arms, you could even add in that chest expansion that we did earlier if that felt good to open your chest and shoulders. Maybe place it on your inner calf or inner thigh. And your drishti, your gazing point, can be down about 6 feet. Maybe it's more like eye level, or it could be up for a little bit more challenge. Know that we're not here to be statues. There's going to be falls, there's going to be wobbles. Can you just get back in? Return to your breath. Inhale. Exhale, lower your right foot down. A few moments standing. Maybe close your eyes or gaze to your fingertips. Come back to your intention for your practice. How does it feel to start to move in your body, to move with your breath? Emotions need motion. Otherwise, they get stagnant or stuck in our body. Inhale, big stretch up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, have a seat. And we'll set up for Dandasana. So just like earlier, if it felt good to have a block under your sit bones, when we start to move into seated forward folds, in my body, the block is a little too high. But a blanket might be nice, just having a couple inches to rest your sit bones on. And then from here, start with your hands outside your hips. Notice that your toes point up toward the ceiling. Now, if you were standing and it felt good to have a little space between your feet, it might feel good when you're seated as well. Otherwise, maybe your feet touch. Inhale, reach your hands up, draw your navel up and in, long spine. Exhale, fold. And you could keep this an active fold, maybe grabbing onto feet, ankles, shins, a strap, or that tie or sock could come in handy here. Or I'm going to invite you to make this a little bit more restorative. So especially if you have blocks or books, you can stack them up. And like we did in child's pose, try to bring your third eye center, the center of your forehead, to something solid. And then just find a little release here. And we'll be here for about 5 to 7 breaths. There can be a bend in your knees. We're not straining. You're just releasing to gravity. In the interview posted below, David Kessler has written many books on grief. And he talks about how our world is completely changed. There's no sense of normalcy. There is fear of economic uncertainty. There's a loss of connection. And we store that, we feel that in our body. Your physical yoga practice, moving through asanas or postures, can be a way to learn or connect to where you store grief, fear, anxiety, and find ways to move and breathe and work through. Slowly lift your chest up. We'll move into Janu Shirshasana, or a forehead to knee pose. So bend your left knee. And maybe you have the blocks or that added height. Turn your chest slightly so that your heart is in line with your right toes. And then start to add your forward fold. Again, you could have the blocks kind of stacked up and keep this more restorative. And again, forward folds are just an opportunity to be reflective, to turn inwards, allow some introspection into your day, into your practice. And notice after we're in poses for a little bit, maybe you want to go a little deeper. And again, we're not forcing it, but just there might have been some shifts or movement. And then lift your chest up. We'll take that on the other side. Extend your left leg long. Bend your right knee. Now, maybe you're using blocks to bring the ground up higher to you, or maybe it's just a little shift. So again, twist your chest towards your toes and then add your fold. And that shift could look like an inch or two, and that's fine. Maybe just tuck your chin so we're not holding your head up, and allow a little bit more restorative sensation or feeling this way. And again, especially if you're new, I hope that you take away an understanding that every pose can look different in every body. It's not one shape that we are striving for. It's about presence, being present in your body, in your breath, and how you're feeling right now. Then lift your chest up. We'll move onto our back. We'll do a gentle twist and then Shavasana, our final resting pose. So you can set blocks off to the side. If you have a blanket, not too far, we might use that in Shavasana, and make your way onto your back. Bend your knees. And once you come to your back, maybe open your arms wide like a T or cactus arms. From here, let your knees rock side to side a few times like windshield wipers. And the next time both of your knees point to your left, stay there. Your chin could turn toward your right shoulder. Maybe even bring your left hand to your belly. And you could always stack your knees, or maybe place a block or a blanket under your left leg, under your bottom leg. Couple more breaths here. Then return to your windshield wipers. Let your knees rock side to side a few times. Take a moment just to neutralize your spine. And then let your knees fall the other direction. A spinal twist here. Again, maybe hand to belly. Maybe turn your chin toward the opposite shoulder. And come back to your breath. Inhale, point your knees up toward the ceiling. Exhale, you can give your legs a hug. Maybe capture your knees and add a little press through your low back. Maybe even lift your forehead up to your knees. You could get tight like a ball. Inhale. Exhale, release. Shavasana. So this is our final posture, our final meditation, corpse pose. And please, 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 if you've made it this far, stick with it through corpse pose. We'll just be here for a couple of minutes. You could always pause it and make it longer. But we've done all of this work, and this is where we can get the benefit. So an option for corpse pose, if you have a blanket, is to drape the blanket over your body. It's common to get a little chilly. Or maybe just over your chest. So especially if you are experiencing big feelings of grief or fear and anxiety, adding a little blanket or protection over your heart center, this heart space that is so sensitive and raw for many of us right now, might provide a little comfort or peace. You can extend your legs long and straight, or if you're feeling any kind of tension in your low back, bring your feet wide and let your knees come together. Hands can be out wide or they can connect to your body, just like every posture in our practice. This can look really different day to day. As you start to settle into our final pose, Return to your breath. Just listen. Be present. And when your mind wanders, and it will, come back. Be aware as you inhale. Be aware as you exhale. Be aware as you inhale. Be aware as you exhale. Be aware of your body. Maybe wiggle fingers and toes. You can rock your head side to side. Option even for a full body stretch. You could reach your hands overhead. Maybe point your feet. Inhale, get long. Exhale, roll to whatever side body is calling your name. And eventually transition to a comfortable seat. So maybe you come back to a block or a chair. Maybe cross your legs, whatever a comfortable seat looks like now. You could keep your eyes closed or your gaze just soft and down. Arrive seated, press your palms together at your heart. Remember, it's the choices you make that define who you are far more than your abilities. Thank you for choosing to practice your yoga. Lift your thumbs to your third eye, the center of your forehead. We've brought a lot of attention there throughout class. And we'll close with one final collective breath. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Casey for this Yoga for Beginners sequence for coping with grief. Please check out the article in the description box below. Add any comments or requests that you would like to see in our coming weeks and time together as we grow this channel. And again, please take a moment to subscribe or share this with a friend. Thank you.